All right, today I got a Mini Cooper that's here for some maintenance. We're gonna do some spark plugs. All right, so here we are. Pretty easy to do these. You flip this lock out like so, and it'll push the plug off. And so we're gonna do this with all the coils. We're gonna get them all disconnected here, like that. Kind of pry under them, they'll release pretty easy, like that. And then, like that. Get all your wires swiggled out. Can't really mix them up, pretty easy. You gotta kind of twist them, pull your coils up, keep them all in order. That's what I prefer to do, at least so you see your spark plugs. Just gonna twist and pull a little bit. It should pop right out for you. Just careful not to break nothing. Everything is plastic. And one more, come on. We'll twist. A little bit of pressure and pop. There it goes. So, and I'm just putting a screwdriver underneath this little edge and just putting a little pressure while I pull up on the whole thing. All right, so you got your coils just taken out. Pull the plugs out and inspect them, which are not a 5/8. They are not 5/8. Okay, so you got all your coils removed, kept them in order. Spark plugs are actually a 12.14 millimeter instead of a 5/8 plug, like I expected them to be. So take and loosen them all up first. And there is options on this spark plug, so I have to get one out and see what's actually in it before I order them. All right, let's take our magnet. We'll pull the plugs out, kind of inspect them as they go. They are NGKs. And yeah, they have a 12 point. I don't know, can you see how well that can be seen? Yeah, they're not a hex. They're actually a 12 point socket. So that's what I had to use to get them out. 14 millimeter. We're gonna keep all these in order too, even though there's no problems with this engine. I always just like to look at everything, know if you got a problem in a certain cylinder or not. Yeah, they look fine. No carbon tracking, no big oil deposits. Last time I serviced this vehicle, the oil was low. So, burning a little bit in this one. But this one too, maybe. So there's a little oil getting burned. How well it can be seen there. But I'll show you a better picture of those later. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of deposits on it. Like I said, it was a couple quarts low last time I serviced it. But there's no carbon tracking, so the coils should be all fine. I'm gonna get me some plugs ordered and we'll put her back together. All right, so we got our new spark plugs. Expensive little guys. They're a laser iridium from NGK. It's kind of nice as they ship them with these protectors on there, so that as long as they're not damaged, you can see how short the gap is. Basically, they come pre-gapped, and this tube prevents the gap from getting messed with. So now you don't want to just drop them in really hard because you could damage the gap. So you gotta lower them into the hole nice and easy until they drop all the way down. Always inspect them, make sure there's no damage, but typically this protects them pretty good as long as your boxes aren't all smashed. Drop in. One more. Looks good. Slowly lower into the hole. And I'm going to take and by hand tighten them all the way down. This side. Once you get them all the way seated down, the torque is 27 Newton meters, just about 20 foot-pounds. Again, this is for an 07 with this engine, so as far as specifications go, make sure you have the right ones for the vehicle that you're working on. Once they all stop turning, we'll grab the torque wrench. Tight. And you really, with the gasketed washer, you can actually feel it. It's basically as soon as the gasket collapses, it's going to be tight, but I'm sure you could do this by hand and you don't need a torque wrench, but I always use one on everything because there's a reason for it. So all the plugs are torqued. Now I'm going to take a little bit of dielectric grease. I'm just going to put a little bit on the boot and just kind of help it go on and come back off again later in life. Yeah, I'm just putting a small dab just around the tip of the boot, kind of smeared it around just so when it goes onto that plug, it's all the way in there. And then you don't have to pack it full of grease. You don't want to have like grease creating pressure as you're trying to push the plug in. It's just a smear, small amount, just to lubricate the boot. And then all these should go pop right in. Once you get it all the way in, it kind of pushes itself down. I'll actually show you that if I just take and push on it. It like goes to there, and then clip, and done. So spark plug's pretty easy to change on one of these. Just make sure your boots are all the way down, or coils. And that's all it takes to change your spark plugs.